This is Tommy's Outdoors number 11. And in this episode, my guests are Fozzy, Mike, and Vinny, runners from Kerry Crusaders Running Club. Mike was my guest on the podcast, episode 3, when we were talking about running and how to start running and running for weight loss, etc., etc. And this time around, Mike brought his two friends, and so we had an opportunity to sit down and talk about running, a little bit more about running, about training, about ultra marathons and ultra running, as well as about their new challenge that they're taking on, where running is only 1/3 of the challenge. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Vinny, Mike, and Fozzy. All right, I'm here in the room with three awesome runners who are just gonna be taking on another challenge, but we get into that. And Mike was our guest in episode 3 of the podcast, Running with Mike Kissane. How you doing, Mike?
Hi, Tommy. How are you?
Doing good. And we have two of your colleagues. Guys, maybe introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Fozzy, and Fozzy Forrestal from Kerry Crusaders.
I'm Vinnie O'Leary from the Stole, one of the Kerry Crusaders also.
Hey guys, great to see you. Great to see you on the podcast. So Mike, what's been going on with you and the guys since the last time we were talking?
Miles and miles and miles, plenty of them, I think. So it was March, wasn't it, last year or so?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say when we had the last podcast. So I suppose since then we've done a good few things. When I was talking to you last, I was training to try and break the 3 hours in Dublin, but I decided that was too far away, so I did it in Limerick about 8 weeks later. And so that was great, what you call it. It was nice to get it over the line that quickly. And then really for the rest of the year, I suppose my year was just down to pacing gigs really and a few more races, but nothing much more than that really. Kind of lining up for this year.
I heard that you guys were giving Mike a hard time that he was on the podcast and he kind of omitted you.
We give him a hard time about everything.
Yeah,
every time.
That's part and parcel of what we do.
Okay.
Running, give each other hard times.
Okay. And is it like a way of motivating you for training, or
of course, the only way.
Well,
in fairness, I am the slowest of these three, or the three of us. So,
not officially.
What does it mean?
Mike has a faster marathon time than me. Fozzy has a faster marathon time than Mike. Yet Mike thinks I'm faster than him. I don't know where he gets it from. It's not on paper.
Mightn't be in paper, but in practice it is.
Okay, so how does it work? That you have a better time, but he's faster. Is it down to the event that on that particular event he just was like but then on the is it about the consistency or?
I don't know, maybe I might train better than I race. So obviously we train more often than racing, so it might appear that I'm faster because I'm faster in training, but fail on the big day.
Right. Is it like you need to work with sports psychologists or something?
Possibly. I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Right. So you kind of confirm that you're faster than Mike, but then there is something when you
it could appear as in training.
It appears in training.
Mike,
so faster
Mike
in
is letting
training.
me think I'm faster in training, and then when he puts on that number across his chest,
okay, he's
a machine.
All right. Yeah. Well, it's a. I remember that 24-hour race. You guys were running that race as well.
That's right.
Yeah. What are your memories of that?
We didn't have too many, I'd say, by the end of the day. I suppose the fact that the three of us finished it was phenomenal for us anyway.
Yeah.
As friends, we set out to achieve that goal of 24 hours and we actually managed to do it, which was something way beyond our ambitions.
Yeah.
When we first met up.
Absolutely.
As friends, and became friends running,
Right.
And it just
happened, and we were pretty happy about it. Like,
I suppose we might as well ask Fozzy at this stage what he did last September.
Fozzy,
Into the Stole Endurance
what you
Festival.
did last September in the stall.
I did another 24-hour race.
Oh
Yeah,
really?
it is, yeah.
Hey, because I was asking Mike, like, no, I'd never do it again.
Myself and Mike decided to organise it so that we wouldn't have to run it.
That was it. And then out of the three of you, there was only one guy who had to do the running.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they were great support out there. Right?
All right.
It was a fantastic event, the Stolen Endurance event.
Yeah. It's a pity he missed PB in it though.
Yeah.
By how much?
Couple of 100 yards, I'd say.
Couple of 100 yards, yeah.
Okay, on the
Yeah.
24 hours.
But I was pretty happy, yeah. I was
Yeah.
actually delighted to finish.
Well, but it was almost PB, so this is like, given that this is your second 24-hour race, your consistency.
Consistently,
It
yeah.
was a tougher course.
Much
tougher course.
Oh, really?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a good gradient of a hill it was about 0.75,
Every give or take 3/4
three quarters of a mile, yeah.
And is the lap was longer?
Give or take the same.
Mhm.
It was
Right.
minor.
But there was a huge hill in it.
Right.
So that
Okay.
was, how many times did you go around that?
174 laps.
170.
Wow. And how many hours you slept?
I didn't sleep.
Oh, really?
No, I don't.
Do you see? Okay, so I have a question for you.
Okay.
Is that, did you have these hallucinations? Because when I was listening to the other podcast with the ultra runners, is the stories they say are just unreal about they see the leopards in the hammock and stuff like that, and like is that something that?
No, I didn't have hallucinations. I suppose the most that would happen to us is we lose our memory. Like, say, if you ask me now what happened at your 14th or your 16th hour of running, I would have no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, completely.
There were a few runners that thought they had hallucinated because myself and one of the other organisers went up into the woods around about 3 a.m. and of course hiding behind trees and ducking with scary masks on. And we just used to stick our faces out, and the minute they'd see us, we'd tuck back in so that they left them wondering, did you see that? So a few of them were speaking, and we just stayed there for 5 minutes so that we wouldn't get caught.
Right. Okay.
And I didn't see him.
There was like additional difficulty added to it.
Of course.
Absolutely.
All right.
Now, contrary to Fozzy's belief, he actually was hallucinating slightly, we think, because he had this mad penchant for melon. So every time we met him and asked him how he was getting on, he just said melon.
Like I said, I don't remember.
Exactly. So you might be hallucinating. You just don't remember.
Just don't remember. No, exactly. Yeah.
No, it was okay. But on that first run in Tralee, you guys took a nap, right?
No.
No, I thought it was like I saw these tents and all that.
They were
Right,
just,
so you're hardcore. It's like
Hardcore. All the way.
I think I sleepwalked
yeah.
for a while.
Okay.
Because my wife has a video that's on YouTube, and basically we're linked because I'm so weak, and I'm confessing and I'm saying that I will never again run a 24-hour or do anything crazy like that. And I had no recollection of the video until she shared it with me.
All right.
So I'll give you that link after to share with the podcast.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That would be awesome. Okay, guys. So what goes into organizing an event like that?
It started in March, end of February, March, and I wouldn't say I was delving into the unknown because I knew from the event that we had done in Tralee on where to improve. But there was a lot of red tape involved. Mainly.
So were you one of the organizers on the one in Tralee as well?
No.
Oh no, you just happen to know what
Yeah, well, we organise a half marathon and a 10k every November in the store.
Okay.
So from that I knew what it was like to organise an event. And from running the 24-hour I knew what was needed from that side of it.
Right.
So just a lot of time and good team. 2 boys were backing me, and a few other people. I won't mention names because inevitably I leave someone out.
But you mentioned the red tape. So what was involved in the red tape? Is it like a county council?
It was in the park. So the council were requesting not too much. Now, in fairness, they were good, but I still had to chase it up. Big issue was safety statement. Just loose ends like that. So we're planning to go ahead with it this year again.
Oh,
So at least a lot of the groundwork is done.
okay.
Mike
Do you
is currently
like
starting
to plug this event for the listeners if they want to take a?
Of course, yeah. It's Listowel Endurance Festival, and it's on the 22nd and 3rd of September.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll start at 12 noon on Saturday the 22nd,
Mm-hmm.
and finish at 12 noon on 23rd.
Right.
24 hour starts at 12.
Mm-hmm.
The 12 hour will kick in 12 hours later,
Right.
and the 6 hours after that again.
Okay, so this
And
is
then
like
there's
6,
a
12, and 24. So like three
and
events.
and a 3 hour as well.
It's 4 events. Yeah.
Oh, 4
So
events, 3 hours.
It's something for everyone.
Right.
So expect to see you there, Tommy.
Well, maybe we'll see. I'm gonna be in the support crew. Okay, very well, guys. So, what are the plans now? Running plans, and let's not go into the big ones, right? Because we have a little bit of a to share. I'm leaving that till the end.
Okay.
But just running, just a regular running. What's for you guys?
But
Is
for
it
me,
pacing
I'm
or-
still chasing the sub 3.
right.
I've done it unofficially on a running track in React.
Right.
As
What do you
in-
mean unofficially?
As in, I ran the distance,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a race.
Okay. But it doesn't like.
No,
what
in
you
my
mean?
head it
does
doesn't.
count.
But it does in my head.
Yeah, that's kind of like you can argue over that. Like,
Uh-huh.
do you count a training run as an official sub 3
No,
or
you
do
were
we
as an
not?
athlete, you were able to do that.
If
Absolutely,
someone
and he
asks
can
me
do
what's
it.
my fastest marathon, I will say 2:57.
Right.
If somebody says where's the link to the results, I can only show them
Okay.
I can only show them my Garmin.
Okay. Okay.
But I done the 105.5 laps,
Mm-hmm.
which is 42.2k.
Equates to
Yeah.
the marathon distance. Right.
So I want to break that. Short-term goals is Limerick in a week and a half's time. 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're hoping to compete in the team event
Oh.
under Listowel AC.
Oh, how does it work? Team event. Is
Out
it
of
time
your-
for the team so they?
Out of your club, the first 3 home,
Mhm.
the times are accumulated.
Okay. Oh, accumulated, so that it's
Yeah.
like added.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So I suppose that's the
Yeah.
nearest goal, really.
Absolutely.
And all 3 of you are running.
No, I'm currently injured, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yes, so
okay.
that would be my number 1 goal, is to get back on the road again.
Okay. And injury is an interesting topic, and actually I'm in the process of writing a blog post about that, and we touched on that with Mike in our previous conversation, where like running is an impact sport, and there's a ton of injuries. It's probably right up there in the top 3 of most, damaging sports. So, from the perspective of a person currently injured, what's your take on injuries in running and how to prevent that? And is it just the reality of the runner and you just toughen it out?
Yeah, you see, there's a lot of articles out there about running and the effects it have on your legs or your ankles or your back or whatever part of the body.
And your knees.
Your knees especially. You hear it from everyone that doesn't run especially.
Yeah.
And you're going to be wrecked in 20 years with your knees or your back.
Yeah.
But it's hard to know, do they really affect it? Because we do know marathon runners that are 40, 50 years running there, and they're still going strong.
And it's great for bone density as well.
It is the number 1. Running is the number 1 for antidepressant, sports and stuff. And
Yeah.
we love to run, and injury wise, I suppose. Yeah, it's a hard one to call. You're going to get them, especially if you train at such a level of sport that myself, Mike, and Vinnie love to do. It's not that we love to do it.
Yeah.
If you train at that level, I suppose you are prone to picking up
Most of the
injuries.
injuries come from overtraining.
Yeah. Right.
It's not actually running itself. If you run to what you should,
Mm-hmm.
you won't get these injuries.
Oh,
Or leaping around. If you see any,
That's very interesting. So would you like to elaborate on that? So what are the
I would say I got injured doing a stress fracture in 2012 or 13. I forget.
Blotted it out.
I had gone from running 1 marathon a year to running 4 It was a 1,000-mile challenge myself and Fozzy took on.
Okay.
So it was a massive ramp up in training.
Yes.
And the body couldn't take it.
Okay.
But
So the volume was
yeah, I just increased it too quick, too much.
okay.
You know, felt I could, but obviously I couldn't.
And it was just the body didn't recuperate on time, or was it like a compounding effect, really, right? Or was it like
It all came ahead, like towards the end of the year, we'll say in October. So I was after running 4 marathons. I was after being training 5 days a week. So it just too many miles,
right?
no break. Like usually you'd run a marathon. Okay, we don't now, but we built up to it at this stage.
Yeah.
Whereas then I was only running 3 years, and
Yes.
But
I think with running you have to build ever so slowly.
But Vinny's example there is just a kind of the second phase of what we see as a running group of the people who come in and run a marathon for the first time. You know, and it's day in, day out that we see it. I mean, when we went to Dublin, that was 2013, we carried 94 people up there.
Yeah.
And probably half of them hit the point where they trained, they went through kind of a beginner training program, and they started running longer and longer distances towards the end of it. So you're running 18 miles one week, then you're doing 20 miles next week, and then you're doing 22, which is the long run, then you're tapering back. But everyone resets at the start of the week in their head going, you know, I've just done now, let's go on to the next week. What they forget is they're after running the bones of 100 miles in a month, which, you know, started probably 12 weeks before with 3 miles, you know. And you'll always see it around marathon time. It's either 2 weeks before or it might happen a week afterwards, where the body shuts down and they just get injuries left, right and centre. You know, the busiest time you'll ever see is a physio 2 weeks before the Dublin City Marathon for newbie runners.
Right.
You know, and Vinny's the same there, where he's saying he was used to running a marathon, but then when you ramp up that distance, even for an experienced runner, the body just can't take it, you know, and eventually you will get those injuries.
Right. So there's just a controlling the volume, the weekly volume of the training. That's what.
Yeah.
Volume, I suppose, and I suppose recovery.
Give yourself a break.
Yeah. When you need to take it, and don't, you know, if you don't feel good, don't go running.
Right. And what is so did you feel it coming, or you guys usually at that point where you're very experienced, and when you're training, can you feel it kind of creeping? Is it, I need to take a day off, or is it more of a just looking at your weekly volume and maybe looking at your resting heart rate and say like, I think I need to.
I don't know about Vinny's injury now, but with my current injury, no, I didn't feel it coming. Like, it was just happened on the night.
Oh, it was acute.
Yeah, just happened straight in, out of the blue, and I suppose didn't think it was as bad, but it was. Ended up being bad. So
The end of the second set of 3 fast miles.
Yeah, we had a session planned. Mike was following him when we ended.
So is probably not because of overtraining.
Well, I think
because I presume that what you said, that overtraining is something that is compounding and is like this pain that is creeping in, and there's a bigger and bigger with every run, and then finally it's big. Well,
you see, you can still run with this stress fracture. Literally, like the time I got injured, it was on the 22 miler.
Yeah.
I felt, a slight niggle during the run, and went home, and a few hours later I could barely walk. So I had 3 weeks to Dublin.
After you come back home.
Yeah.
Right.
I had 3 weeks from that to Dublin Marathon, so I didn't run at all, and lined up and ran Dublin anyway, and got as far as mile 19 before the pain got too hard.
Oh God.
But still limped home.
Right.
Then I didn't run for 6 months.
Right.
But what I'm saying is it was a stress fracture, so there was a hairline crack, and there's no way it came from just 2 or 3 pounds.
Yes.
It had been weakened and weakened and weakened, and eventually it showed.
Yeah. And then what? 6 weeks until it heals.
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
Okay, I suppose 6 weeks is when I'm just talking about more of a kind of different type of injuries where the fracture is 6 weeks before you get out of bed, but then you
6 to 10 weeks is kind of a guideline on stress fractures, isn't it? I think, but it can change. With Vinny's one was a bit more severe as well.
The fact that I ran the marathon on it, probably delayed the
didn't
healing
help.
process.
I think it didn't help.
Definitely not.
Right. And did you guys have any injuries after that 24-hour run?
We couldn't go up the stairs.
I'm not sure it counts as an injury.
No injuries, no.
Because
No
Mike had
injuries,
like a proper injury.
I
Right?
had to.
Mike had one, unfortunately,
I
yeah,
had
but
one
no,
just-
we were lucky enough we didn't.
You had an injury?
Yeah, I strained the ligaments in my foot.
Like his swollen
Oh,
up.
that's right. But we all ran Dublin.
We did. You're right.
We all ran Dublin, which was 5 weeks later.
Yeah, we did. That's right.
So
Actually, I forgot that.
wouldn't really say injuries.
Yeah. But this is just this element of toughening it out, right?
Yeah.
And then your adrenaline goes like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
I did. I lost one. I lost my first toenail.
That's
That counts as an injury.
That's right. And I remember the story of that. I was at home, all sorry for myself, because in fairness, I came into work. I remember 2 days later with the crutches, and that lasted about 2 days because I got sick of them. And I stayed home by Saturday, and the guys went out for a 22-miler for the last run
Last
before
long
Dublin,
run, yeah.
which if I remember correctly, John Collins beat you all in.
We
Because-
Oh,
retired.
yes, I walked a lot of them miles.
You know, yeah. I suppose looking back in it was sheer lunacy, but I suppose we paid entry fee, so you know. But I don't think we gave. Well, okay, maybe not Fozzy because you were pacing 320, weren't you?
That's right, yeah.
But I don't think we gave the distance between that 24-hour and the marathon, Dublin City Marathon, enough respect.
Yeah, well, I've missed a wedding. I've missed 2 weddings. I have ran Dublin with the flu, and I've ran it with a stress fracture. So I don't think a 24-hour 5 weeks earlier was going to get in my way.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool what you just said. Like, okay, guys. So what else did you miss, or like kids' birthdays?
Shh, we can't say it.
We didn't miss their birthdays. We just told them they couldn't have it that day because
Yes,
we
it's
were
it is okay. I was listening to the podcast the last day about where hunters where they were synchronizing when the kids were supposed to be born with the open season, and it's like, you know, I'm making love shortly after Christmas, so then the kid will go, you know, before the deer season or whatever it is, and they're just synchronizing everything. And then the other guy says, like, you know, if I start over again, I would marry the girl who has a birthday at Christmas, and he's like, you know, all these things. Everything compounds, I suppose. Like, what are the big events that you guys are doing?
Yeah. I suppose, you see, we can't say that because we don't have a season anymore.
Yeah.
We run so much. We
Yeah.
run just marathons.
That's an interesting point, because usually, like, for example, in cycling training, you have the time where the winter comes, and you're kind of tapering down, and you're kind of winding down and recuperating, and then you working on your aerobic capacity, and then so you going up, and you know, I heard a lot about the importance of that and so on. But what you're saying is that you just going straight all the time.
Pretty much, yeah. We love.
I would say though the summer's probably the least competitive that we're doing.
Oh, the summer.
Yeah, we probably go more ultra.
I suppose we have our real main sex season could be maybe March, April, May, because we do have a lot of marathons. We pace a lot of marathons. We compete like in Limerick and a few others. So maybe come the summer, then we kind of wind it down a little bit, and maybe for the likes of, if we're doing the last 2 years, we're doing the 24-hour, which was in September. So August was kind of quiet for us, and maybe July would be a little bit quieter. But I mean.
Okay,
overall, we do kind of do them most of the year.
And is this typical for runners? Is that, or if we have a you know, world renowned running coach sitting here, he would go like, oh no, you guys need to do this and that, and like, or how does
They'd have time off.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't deal with it like us.
No. we don't recover at the right pace. We don't
do anything right.
Yeah,
I'm afraid. Yeah.
But even the elites, when they say time off, they just mean time off from a structured training schedule.
Oh yes.
They probably still go away and do their 10k jogs.
Yes.
Which is probably
yes,
faster than most.
absolutely. No, it's not like a time off.
It's just
Then,
the
you
sessions
know, you
are-
put a feet on the table,
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
like, do nothing.
it's pure fartlek running for them that stage. Like, they do what they want, and they don't have to worry about putting too much pressure.
Right.
I mean,
I didn't run last August or September.
Mm.
But it was just, I was so busy with the
event.
organisation of the event.
Mm-hmm.
But it's done today.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah.
So guys, so when you're running all the time, training all the time, are you seeing that your form is constantly going up, and or is it like pretty much the same? Because the whole idea of this training, where you have a periods of you not training and then you training, kind of building up, and how does that work? Because I would imagine that in a training regime, like you training all the time, you would plateau, and it's hard to. Is that what you or have you way of dealing with that?
I suppose you will reach a point where you're at your best, which is, you say, like a plateau. Like, but I suppose with us, we kind of.
We haven't reached that yet.
We haven't reached it yet. No, God no.
We look for a PB in some distance every year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether that be 10k, half marathon, ultra. If you hit a PB every year, you have to be doing something right.
Yeah.
Yes, you progress. You measure progress that way.
Yeah.
There's so much out there at the moment during the year in running for us that we can pick something every year and say,
Right.
we might go for a 10k
Yeah.
PB, or we'd find, hey, let's do a 24-hour race, and
Yeah.
and we pick it and we do it, and
Yeah.
we try PBs.
So what are they? Is it like 10k, 20k? What are the types of?
Well, you can get anything from 5k up to an ultra, which is anything over 26 miles.
Yeah, but most events you'd have 5k, 10k,
Half.
10 miler, half marathon. Then you'd be talking marathon. You'd be talking 50k, a double marathon.
100K.
Then you're into 24 hours.
100k, 100 milers, they're all there. Like,
Right.
just keeps on going. Like,
Okay. And so you don't have, I presume you don't have any plans for any ultra runs this year, or maybe I'm mistaken and you do.
No, not for me this year.
I have one. I have a goal. Alright, there was one. I had 2 goals this year, but one of them unfortunately went out with the injury. But hopefully, I can make the second goal. Is the 100 mile.
And how long do you think you're going to be recovering?
I'm kind of waiting on the old experts to let me know. But yeah, I would have hoped to be back by now, but it's not materialising at the moment.
And you're not training, so you're not training at all.
No, I'm lucky now. I can swim is the only thing I can do. So
so you kind of keep your engine going.
Something, because it's very hard to go from when you are running full time to nothing, complete stop. It's a bit of a, it's kind of.
I heard that this is unhealthy. That this is unhealthy for heart. That if you're an athlete, if you're training and you stop straight away, it's actually have a very adverse effect for your heart. So even if you decided, I had a friend who was very accomplished martial artist. He was doing martial arts for many years, and he was first of all of us with the black belt and all that. And suddenly he decided that he will stop. It was some bizarre reasons behind why he decided that he will stop. And he read about this, and he went through that regime to kind of winding it down and training less and less and less until he stopped. But of course, when there's an injury, there's no way. And then how many times you get, or maybe that's a different question. You after a break that is caused by, I presume, injury. You don't taking breaks for any other reason.
No.
Are you enjoying? Are you dreading the time when you're kind of going back and you kind of starting over?
Oh, you can't wait to get
back. You can't wait. No, it's something missing there for a long time, and
right.
It's like my wife says, you should cherish the time with the kids now, and which I do most certainly, but. It's still missing.
right.
That little kick.
I think any one of our wives have gone through the phase where, for some reason or another, if we haven't gone for a run for more than probably 2 or 3 days, they're kind of going, please just go.
Get it out of your system. Your wife will know that you have one jerk in the house.
Yeah, stop moping around the place. Just go.
If it wasn't for running, we wouldn't know how to turn on the washing machine either.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So we were talking about impact of the sport on the home life and all that. So did you ever have a problem of kind of convincing your spouse or that this is important, or you were so lucky? So where I'm heading at is like, what advice would you give to anyone? runners, but also other, you know, that podcast is about outdoors, and obviously I think that's an issue common, you know, for whether it's an angler or cyclist or whatever. What arguments you use?
But to get the time off.
Yes, yeah.
I think running is lucky in a sense, because, and I compare it. I use this example as well when people ask me why don't I join Ballygun golf course. Well, number one, it costs a bomb. I don't have that money to spend. But two, it means you have to go out, you know, at whatever 7 o'clock in the morning. You know, take half an hour to get back there and get ready and hit the first tee. Then you're about.
Look strange running around after the ball as well.
Well, that's true too. But you got 3.5, 4 hours of, you know, hitting a ball around the course. Then you got to come in, take a shower, you know, and you're looking at 5.5 hours before you get finished and come home. The thing about running is, it's I suppose like a sickness, not only for yourself but also your family, because you start with 5Ks. And they only take, you know, half an hour. And I'm going out once or twice a week for a 5K, and maybe 3 times a week, and you know, it's fine. And then you start going for 10Ks, and it gets a bit longer and a bit longer and a bit longer. And I think over time they just get used to it. It becomes part of the normal process.
Easy.
It's an easy lead in. There's no big bang about it. There's no I'm going for 5 hours. I'm just going for a quick run.
Or for 24 hours.
Or 24 hours. Yeah, exactly. Leads onto that. So
yeah. Okay.
That's where the sickness comes.
Right. So that's a good advice. If you have that option to kind of ease it in.
Plus, it's a good example for kids as well, and I'm sure the spouses are aware that it's good to have healthy, fit mommy or daddy, as opposed to slouch on the couch.
Yes.
You know, so it sends positive vibes through the house, not just the person that's going out running. It sets good examples.
Right.
Look, we push the boundaries. That's what happens. It's part and parcel of it. And, like we can't thank them enough for what they do for us. Like they give us 100% support when we need it, especially in longer runs, like and stuff. And all the training runs, like. But it's just you just have to go with it. Hopefully they won't kill you.
I suppose going back to kind of an earlier point around just time and that. When you're doing the longer runs like we do, your time management is absolutely incredible. I mean, we have it down to the minutes. You know, Saturday mornings, you know, we'll all meet at a certain time. We have to be out by a certain time. We have to hit a certain point. You know, there's no dilly-dallying around, because when you have a group of people running together, everyone has to do something. You know, so you're up the crack of dawn, you get your running, and then you have to get on with your normal day. So, you know, there's a real kind of focus on making sure that it's not something that you ponder around or start late in the day, you know. You almost get 2 days out of it at that stage, like.
Right. So is it always planned, or are there times like you say, like, you know what, I'm gonna go for a run?
Oh, you always have that. I go for a run.
Yeah.
But we are a really good group of friends here, like, and
so you're planning first run in the morning, and then you come back and they say, well, I'm gonna go for another run. There's the unplanned part of it.
Yeah, you get, well, you see, we all work different hours, different shifts, and you know, it's hard to meet up the whole week. So you go out and do your own thing, but we do meet at least once a week if we can, Monday nights or Saturdays for the long runs, and we plan them runs like as best we can, and we try to work together. Right. You know,
but the rest of the runs you'd work around family life.
Sure.
As in you ask, when is the best time for me to go out for a run? I have to do 10 miles today or whatever.
Yeah, and you kind of
you compromise.
We're all at different levels and training for different things occasionally, and that means we just can't meet up and whatnot. And you know, like when we first started running, the three of us, like we ran 3 days, 2 evenings and 1 Saturday, 3 times a week basically. And we always met up and we always did the exact same thing. And you know, Vinnie was in the lead then back them days, like, and we were chasing him. And we did. But nowadays we're so different challenges. It's hard to meet up. A couple of times a week, but we do meet up regularly. Definitely once a week anyway, if not twice.
I actually never asked the staple question that usually, you know, every podcast started at. How did that started as, like, for you as you know, friends and 3 guys? How did that started that you running together?
Kerry Crusaders,
our group, our club.
So we just met in the club, and
we happen to be of similar ability, so it's natural you go off up the road with somebody that you can keep up with.
Right.
And if
And then
if
you
they
know,
ignore
and then
you
you
today, you
notice
run
that-
away.
You notice you're always with the same guys.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's how we met
So
up.
after about 3 years, I eventually asked him his name.
Why are you still following me?
And I could answer him with my breath.
Okay, that's good. So you said it depends on your goal. So you have a different goals, and is that related to that PB that you're trying to set up different PB? And then when you're like, oh, I'm going for a PB in a 10 miler, and I'm going for a PB in a marathon, is that how it works?
But it's often different events. Like Fozzy does a lot of pacing, Dublin in particular, and Limerick, and they're often goals for myself and Mike.
Yeah.
Time wise, we'd be chasing PBs and them routes. So
Okay.
obviously Fozzy won't be because he'll be running well within his ability to pace.
Yes.
Whereas we'll be putting in extra speed sessions in the lead up to it. And
Okay. And is that helps you during the event? So if you're aiming at, for example, Dublin Marathon, and you know that Fozzy is pacing that, does that help you? Knowing the guy who's
No,
well,
he's
he wouldn't be pacing us.
Yeah, he's too far
He'd
behind.
be pacing runners slower than us.
Oh yeah, I get that. So it's not like, because I thought that when like a first part of that run, you pacing yourself anyway, right?
Yeah.
And you're not going like a full speed. It's like I remember vaguely Mike was explaining that pace. Maybe you guys lay out for our listeners pacing, what pacing is and how does it work and how it can be used for. All right.
Well, I suppose
master pacer.
Master pacer. No, I wouldn't call that. No, but pacing basically is most events will have a number of pacers who will run to a specific time.
Mm-hmm.
So in a marathon, you have an example of a 3-hour pacer, and then you will have probably every 15 minutes you'll have a 3-hour pacer, a 3:15 pacer, a 3:30 pacer, and so on.
So the 3:15 pacer is a guy who gonna make a 3:15 time.
He will cross that line pretty much around 30 seconds below 3:15. So 3:14:30 will be his target, and he will be or she would be very, very close to that target within seconds. And that's part of the job. That's what you do. That's what you're employed by the marathon people to do. So normally then you would end up pacing at a much slower pace than your race pace, because throughout the pacing of the event you will be expected, and hopefully will help the people to get that time. So you'll be talking to
Okay, so essentially if you're pacing at 3:15 and for you it's just a comfortable run, and 3:15 for me is a PB, then as long as I stick with you,
That's right.
I'm good.
Like you're good.
Yeah.
And that's, we all use them when we are training ourselves or going for our PBs. We use pacers too.
Yeah.
We follow them, and they will be pretty much consistent, and they will get in on time.
Okay, so I suppose that leads me more to the question. So, but as a pacer, are you running constant pace all the time, or is it just I need to hit my 3:15? Because then you know like you have these negative splits and this and that. So I would presume there are part of the run when you're running slower, and there are part of the run when you're running faster. So then, is a pacer required to maintain constant pace all the time? Or is it like, well, do whatever, and you might have a pacer who is 3:15, but it will run very fast at the beginning and then will slow down? Or how does
No,
that
you wouldn't
work?
drive more than or Mike, do you want to answer that
Yeah,
one?
I suppose it comes all down to the profile of the course. So, like that, any one of us on most marathons when we pace, you would never vary more than probably 5 to 10 seconds out, and 10 is a lot out from, we'll say, the normal speed. So we'll say take 3:30, that's around 8 minutes a mile. So if you're going downhill, you might bank a small little bit of time, so you might run at 7:55, or you might run at 7:50, depending on the gradient. But also you need to know where the hills are coming. So if there's a large hill coming at the end of it, you know people are going to be much tighter. You might want to bank a minute in the bank or something like that over the course of a few miles, so you can give it back to them. They can go up slower and they won't be burning the quads as they go up the hills.
Right.
I suppose, look, I might as well give the example. I was up in Connemara pacing the 330 yesterday, and we went from pacing 740 to giving, what was it, one of the miles was 930. You know, we gave it back in spades because we had to. The wind was against, and you're going up this massive hill, you know,
Right.
up in Galway somewhere, you know. So now that is probably the most extreme I've ever paced, where I've gone so far away from the normal pace. But normally, yeah, we try and keep it.
Yeah, but that was kind of you had to do that. It was forced by the profile of the
Yes,
course.
by the
Yeah, if it was a flat course, you would try and run steady pace.
Steady pace, yeah.
Because it proves to be the best strategy to running a PB.
Yeah, I think we've all gone down the route and kind of agree that it is steady pace. You do get people who tie with the steady effort, you know, which would vary a bit. So, you know, they'll say, you know, if you have the wind behind you, run a bit quicker, you know, and that's an easy effort, you know. But then when the wind is against you, run slower, run the same effort, and that should equalise out.
Right.
I'm not convinced by that, to be honest.
Okay.
You know, I think
But you have to remember too that the people that are around you are running to the best they can run.
Yeah.
And that's their pace that they train for at race pace. That's as fast as they can go.
Yeah.
So for us to drop down 30 seconds, as you say, get a negative split so we could go off quickly at the start, for them to stay with us, they're putting in a much harder effort.
No, and I understand that because that's your job as a pacer to have that steady pace. But then my earlier question was like, if you're going for a PB, so what I don't understand is there an element of the strategy in the run that if I'm going to get a PB, I'm going to go for a negative split. I'm going to do the 4x. So for example, the first part of the run, I'm not going to run as fast as I could. And then you're going to use one of the pacers, knowing good and well that, you know, I can do faster, but I'm sticking with the pacer because that's a part of my strategy. And then on mile 10, I'm going to go faster because is there a strategy like that going on?
Well, negative split is what I suppose we target if we're racing.
Yeah.
We'll say if you're going for a sub 3, your plan would be to cross halfway in just under 130, as in you're talking seconds, and then you hope to maybe knock a minute off that in the second half. But it's very hard to do, obviously, to be stronger in the second half. But theoretically, that's what you aim for.
Yeah, you will see other people, and we've come across them in races too. And it's a style. It's people's method of running, where they go out as hard as they can. Yeah. And fair enough, they will PB, but it's a question more of how less they bonk that day. You know, how much, you know, they can crash. There are times there'll be a humongous crash and they'll just finish way below what they expect, you know, they'll be too slow. And other times they won't crash as much and, you know, they gain some time in it.
Right.
But I know from all of us, we've gone through crashes in marathons. It's horrible. You know, it's not something you want to remember as part of a PB that, you know, I crawled over the line, I limped over it because, you know, like my sorry ass couldn't go any faster, you know. You want to finish strong.
I remember that my colleague, he was running Ironman in Barcelona, which we get into in a second, and his other friend was filming him while he was running the final miles, and he thought like, oh, I'm gonna be on film, so he tried to look, you know, fresh and strong, and he dug deep, and then when he looked at the video, it was like, oh my god, I was just crawling. Right. So speaking about the Ironman, and speaking about like how did that happen? How the hell that happened? And is it like all three of you aiming for that magnificent event?
Yeah, 3 of us are going for the Ironman in Barcelona next year.
How did that happen? Because like I was talking to Mike, you know, hate cycling.
Yes.
And I would never. And then all of a sudden he started to go swimming. He's like, hey, what's up with that? You know, oh, like it's just a break from running. You know, I'm gonna like whatever. And then one day, like, you know, I'm looking for a bike. You know, what was that? Oh, okay. I think I know what's up. I think I know what's going on.
You got him.
So please lay it out for
I don't know whose idea it was. I
don't either.
Initially we had spoke of Sparta
Yes.
in Greece, which is
The
an
original.
ultramarathon that goes from Sparta or Athens to Sparta or something. It's, I don't know, 200 miles.
The original marathon route, we'll say.
Yeah. Okay.
But-
Okay.
I don't myself and Mike weren't too keen on it.
No.
I think after the 24 hour we were kind of
How long it take?
this could take 36 or 40 hours, I think.
Right.
It's 247 kilometres
200.
across Greece.
Yes.
Yeah, and you have 36 hours to finish.
Right. But you're surely gonna sleep in that.
No,
time.
you don't have time to sleep in that. There's
Oh,
cut off
There's
points all the way.
checkpoints now.
Yeah.
I suppose people might take naps at each
Yeah, naps.
checkpoint
I
or
mean,
something
like
that.
not sleep for
Yeah.
like 2 hours, but
Maybe they do. Right?
From what I remember of looking at the what you call it, the cut off points, the first couple of them are fairly narrow. So you do have to bust a gut to get to those. I know they ease out a bit, but you have to start climbing the mountains of Athens at that stage, So,
They're
whereas
going to try and.
if you were to take a nap, I'd say it wouldn't really be a nap. It'd be a rest to take food on, and you'd have to use your time while you're resting rather than what you call it, than kind of flippantly
yeah,
the way.
yeah.
But I think I know personally, going to Athens and doing the event wouldn't be too bad. It's the thoughts of qualifying for it.
I think that was
Getting in.
initially what put me off. It was that my Tralee time wouldn't qualify me for it because it was too long ago.
Okay, so you need to qualify.
I'd have had to do another 24 hour or another 100k at a rapid pace.
Yeah.
So
And I think our goals, definitely last year we set the goals as kind of a race year to try and hit the sub 3 and try and get PBs and that. And that kind of transferred over as well this year. So we said we'd attack it again. And with that start, kind of went down the drain. No, not writing it off or anything.
Yeah, it's
Well,
still gonna happen.
I still want to do it, and they're still doing it with me.
Okay, that's good.
I was outvoted on that one, by the way, 2-1, like that we weren't doing Sparta. Like.
Oh, right.
I still wanted to do it.
Oh, very good.
Actually,
Very good.
no, I do know it. We're all hitting a weird birthday in the next 2 years. So that was our celebration.
you're hitting it this year.
This year for us.
Yeah, so you're the year after.
Oh, lads.
So
We do. What happened really was our last couple of years we have sat down in January and come together as a group, maybe some mostly out having a few pints.
Our wives dread the January meetup.
Yeah.
And picked an event.
Yes.
Picked something, said right, sub 3. Right, 24-hour race.
Okay.
Right,
So that's a your common goal, right? As opposed to like
Something we picked out.
Everybody targets something else, but you also every year have a one.
Yeah.
one
Something
event.
that we just go
Okay.
together like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what we do. And we picked Sparta.
Yeah.
It just didn't materialise then, unfortunately. And then, as I said, we're all hitting this magical number soon, and our birthdays, and I think
I suppose recently we've had 3 club members do the Ironman.
Right.
In Barca, yeah.
June, Tim and Noel.
Yeah.
So I suppose their achievement inspired us to, there's an Ironman in us too, so...
Right. Sure. And it's interesting because this transformation from runners to triathletes, So first of all, like for the benefits of our listeners, right? Ironman is a brand, right?
Yes.
So Ironman is a long distance triathlon because there are also triathlons which are like Olympic triathlon and half and whatever else. So you guys are going straight for the thing, the full thing, right? So what is the distance? Swim is
3.8 kilometers.
3.8, and there is 180 kilometers
Cycle.
and
42 kilometer run.
and 42 kilometer run, which is marathon.
Marathon, yeah.
Correct.
Which is marathon.
So it's big swim, ring a curry cycle, and marathon.
Right. And so, why did you guys pick for starters a long distance triathlon? Like there's plenty of.
Because
them.
we're mad.
Okay, you're going for the thing.
I suppose for myself, when I started running, when I turned 30, I never said I want to do a 5k. I said I want to do a marathon.
Yeah.
So, but I hit all these goals on the way. The
Yeah.
5k, the 10k race, the half marathon.
Yeah.
So it's just like with this Ironman, that's the finish line. But of course we will be doing the the sprint triathlon.
Okay, so
Olympic.
you're actually going to be doing these.
Of
these-
course.
Oh,
yeah.
We'll have to practice somehow.
Okay.
So we haven't specified. We don't know which ones yet.
Okay.
We're
And
very
so
early
do
stages.
you plan to also do like a long distance triathlon?
In the lead up to Ironman, no. As in Ironman will be the long distance triathlon.
Okay, so the Ironman will be the first long distance triathlon that you
Oh,
that you're okay.
I think we might go for a half.
The
Are we
half
going
in
for the
Dublin.
half Ironman. Let's see. We're at very early stages. Like,
Yeah.
No,
I'm just
Yeah.
what I'm trying to dig into is the magic of the fact that I'm an Iron Man and you're an Iron Man rather than like, oh, it's a Ironman distance marathon triathlon, but it's not really Ironman, right? I'm the Iron Man. So I was just trying to how much the magic of that plays a
I
role.
suppose the only other long distance one I know is the Hardman in Killarney.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Alan runs a great event down there. I suppose we might go down and have a look at that.
Yeah.
To know about doing it individually anyway.
Yeah.
But,
But you can do the relay.
Yeah,
on
the team,
that.
yeah.
So the one guy swims and then cycle.
we might fight over who's getting the run though.
Good. And so what's so you feel like, or maybe it's a question: is the bigger challenge to start on the new disciplines, because like cycling and swimming are completely new disciplines, versus because with Sparta you would do only what you already know well how to do. You would only run, right? Only bigger distance and so on. So you kind of have all your tools there, and you just need to do something new with it. While with this, you're essentially you need to I don't want to say learn how to swim, but you kind of there is an element of that, right? And then cycle and so on. So do you feel like this is bigger challenge, or that the Sparta is so humongous that actually that's probably not as big of a challenge? Or you?
No, I think this was just another thing that popped up and we said, right, let's do it.
Okay,
I don't think we.
So
said,
it wasn't comparing one with the
we
other.
didn't say right. We can't do Sparta, but what else can we do that's big and this wouldn't be as big.
Okay.
Do you know? And for me personally, anyway, an Ironman is a once off. Do you know? I'm like kind of like Mike. I don't really like cycling. I couldn't swim last summer really, and I could only swim a length and a half of the pool. So I was thinking, okay, 3.8 kilometers, possible. But 3 of us are doing it.
Right.
You know, we have to do it. Like so, we're as I said, it's
Great.
time to training now and see how we get on.
But yeah, I think the challenge will be alright when we really get into it. I think this year is going to be more dip the toe in the water around getting a few cycles in, getting the swimming kind of up to speed. But when we get into serious training next year for it, I think that's where the real pressure is going to come. That's where the challenge is going to be. That all of a sudden we'll be pushing ourselves in disciplines that we weren't used to. And I don't think personally that I've gauged what that's going to be like. I know the pain is coming, but I don't know what that's going to be like. So I mean, we know what Sparta would be. We know the pains in our legs. We know the stress in the body. We've done that, and that's a challenge in itself. But yeah, this is an unknown, and I think that's the exciting thing about it. Now, touch wood, we're all going to finish it, and we're all going to get through. But
I have no doubt.
Thank you very much.
And how do you find? And so, how do you find? What are your? How do you finding these new disciplines? How it's going?
But I've done, when I was injured in 2013, I learned how to swim.
Yeah.
So I was off for 6 months, so I learned how to swim, bought a bike, done a lot of sporties, so I actually enjoyed the cycling.
Right.
I endured the swimming, but
So this is how you're different from the other two guys. You enjoy cycling.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I suppose I'm the only one that actually has cycled 180k.
Yep.
So you guys never cycle 180k?
I've cycled 13 miles.
Okay.
I done the ring carry once, and that was it. But I was only with my brother.
I used like the ring.
I did the ring carry once. Yeah.
Oh, right.
That's it, yeah.
I did.
Apologies.
All right, that's quite right.
So 2 of us have done the distance, give or take.
Yeah.
I still don't know how to change a puncture, but
Oh.
My tires are tubeless, so puncture and I'm screwed.
Yes, you need a service car.
the
with you.
service car. Yeah.
Okay. So how's the swimming going?
I suppose see the 2 boys are very good swimmers. They are, and they won't admit it, but they can swim the distance already.
Yeah.
For me,
In a swimming pool.
Yes.
Yes.
yeah, I suppose for me, I am getting better.
Right.
Yeah, and I've reached a few goals now, and kind of learning.
And is it structured training? Is it? Did you have like a coach or whatever? You just.
Well, I at the start I got great coaching off Rochelle in our club. She really helped me to get going and start getting a couple of lengths in. And it just, as the boys said, stick with it, so I stuck with it, and it was painful watching them go up and down past me every time I'm in the pool.
There's a website, 100swimmingworkouts.com. Yeah.
Never heard it. Never looked at it.
But we do need some coaching lessons.
We do.
Rochelle has agreed to
Help us, yeah.
help us initially, and I mean, once we don't even know the drills. Like, there's boards up in the swimming pool that have 100 meters KU and just different abbreviations that mean nothing to us at the moment. So maybe once we discover what they mean, we can start.
We're dipping the toes, like
Yeah, I think it's just a case of getting in and learn to enjoy these other disciplines before we learn to hate them.
Yeah.
But we're lucky we have the endurance. We've the endurance.
Yes.
Yeah. Go for hours.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have an engine to do it, and then just the mechanics of the
Absolutely.
sheer stubbornness.
Yeah,
Right.
but you know something, it is, you know, even behind in the swimming pool watching different people swimming, you know, and it's only when you start looking at technique, you look at different people, and people who you would expect not to be able to swim, you know, faster than you, have a technique that is so efficient.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't piece it together. You look at them going, how are you doing that? You know, they're taking these massive links in one stride, and you're kind of going, I'm trying to do that, but I'm not. I'm just.
Oh Jesus! I remember I was on the swimming pool and I was swimming, and all of a sudden there was like a little girl. She was maybe 7. Right, and I'm swimming, and I'm just looking her just pass by me like a little fish. I couldn't believe it because she was so small. It's like just like, oh, how did that happen? Right, and I was like,
my big man arms.
my big man arms. Yes, exactly. And the other thing for you guys is going back. You need to also learn how to change, right? How it's called the
transition.
The transition. The transition. That's something that needs to be drilled, and it's like, you know,
funny thing.
Get with your speedos on the bike.
I got off the bike. Was it last week or the week before? I don't know what I done, 70 or 80k.
That's right.
I got off the bike and quickly changed into my runners, and all was fine until I started to run, and I felt like Bambi. I was all over the place. It was hilarious if anyone saw me.
And that's a very interesting point that you're making, because I before this podcast I had another podcast, and on that another podcast I had my friend who is a triathlon runner, triathlete, I suppose is the word. Miłosz, you might know her about it, right? And he said interesting thing that running, and obviously he also ran a lot of marathons, and he said that running in triathlon is completely, I'm not, don't quote me on that, but this is what's stayed in my head, that it's completely different than running in a marathon, because you already swam, you already have 180 kilometers, and your legs are tired, and you need to use different muscle groups in your running than you would otherwise. Is that something that you guys already experienced? Is that something that would you like to elaborate?
Not for me, no. Maybe Vinny.
Yeah, I've done a duathlon.
Right.
Something that needs to.
So bike and run.
Yeah, and it takes getting used to. But I done the duathlon with no training, as in no. Again, it was when I was injured, so I hadn't any running done.
Right.
But I'm like that. It was like Bambi.
Right.
But there are. I have looked into some workouts in improving on the transition.
Which you're going to share with us, I'm sure.
Which I'm going to share with the lads
That's
after
cool.
I've mastered it. Then
Okay.
We'll be watching you.
So it is different. How would you
definitely.
how would you describe that difference?
I would describe it as run your marathon, go for a few pints, and then have some of the lads say, "Come on, so let's go out for a fast 10K."
Okay.
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 The legs are saying, "Shut up, I'm going home."
Right. So it's the last thing. So in reality, that might be quite. But you will do the half Ironman and so on. So
We'll be doing, I'd say, going by the way we train, we won't do by halves, and I would expect us probably to be doing half Ironmans in training at some stage. We'll definitely go out and do what you call long swim, followed by long cycle, followed by long run.
Yeah.
You know,
Or what?
we're guaranteed to do it.
Yeah. And then you're gonna do like swim and run and swim and bike and to learn the transitions and all.
Yeah.
that.
Well, the way we're going at the moment, I mean, I went for a swim one day after we did a fast half marathon, and I did the distance in the swimming pool. Then Vinnie did it, and now we're waiting for Fozzy to do it. And I reckon it's just going to build up to the point where we're just going to do an Ironman someday for the sake of it.
Without the medal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised.
So we're not really training to be Iron Man.
Yeah.
We're training to complete an Ironman.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Okay, because
You
you
know,
already
like
are Iron Man, so it's just, you just need this tick, just box.
No,
tick.
once we do it, we're going back to Sparta, and
Right.
they're definitely doing
Right.
it.
Completely insane. That's what we
Right.
are.
Okay, so we touched on swimming a little bit, and now how's the cycling going for you guys? Why you don't like cycling? Why you hate cycling? Is it because of the position that it's hard on your back, or what's the deal?
Yes.
You know, I suppose being a runner, like an hour's run, and you feel great after it. You feel you okay, right? Take on the day, like.
Yeah.
I have done a couple of hour cycles. I've done 2 3 hour cycles, and I've got off the bike at 3 hours and kind of stand there going, okay, like, I only feel like I've started. I just don't get that kick.
More hills.
Yeah,
More hills, yes.
Probably harder cycles maybe, or I know I'm not going fast enough, but
Yeah.
I'll be slow and steady.
Yeah.
But just don't get that kick off the cycle. And I suppose it's each to their own, whatever way you like to
Yeah,
dance
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff.
I was just wondering, is it an element of physics? Because on the bike, your upper torso is like I'm saying that to be a good cyclist, you really need to go to the gym and train and strengthen your core before you go on the bike and can generate any sort of power, right? Because and I know a lot of people, and I myself got my lower back got screwed up on the too hard training on the bike, where your head is in your result and whatever, and you stop paying attention to what your body is doing, and you start your spine is getting all not how it should be, and then it's easy for is that because I know, like you were saying, that you don't like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's just like you say, the position you're on the bike that it doesn't suit me, but I don't think I've ever enjoyed
That's
cycling.
because you decided down on the cross.
Right. That was one time out of the box. But no, even in my younger days when we'd be cycling around the place, I never ever found it comfortable. I don't know why.
Bike fit.
Well, yeah, I do need to get that done.
Yeah.
I think I would kind of done, but obviously I need to get it properly done. But I don't know. I'm with Fozzy. I've been out once or twice, and same thing. Whereas I will enjoy being out there. At the end of it, I do find myself just kind of going, yeah, I've nothing to show for it.
Yeah. But don't you enjoy the aspect of the distance that you can cover on the bike? That you can,
Things you can see.
Yeah, things you can see, and you get and the sheer distance that you can go ahead and do like 100 kilometers. It's no factor.
Yeah.
Actually, it's nothing. Right? And then is that not something?
Oh, let's run the 100 kilometers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that adventure, this adventure element of
I suppose you just know. when it comes to bike, you do have to talk big distances the whole time.
Yes.
And that's kind of a little bit
I
off-putting.
kind of agree.
Yeah.
I kind of agree that going
Like as you said yourself there, 100k is nothing on a bike.
Yeah.
You know, like 20 miles in a run is great.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
At least I know what section I'm doing in the hardband if we go.
Yes.
You know something?
Brilliant.
It could be too that we're almost spoilt with running because
Oh, you just love it. And
we love it, but not only that, but it's so easy. It's so it's at hand. You know, we make sure we're very good with our runners, and I think we spoke about that as well in the last podcast. But we make sure that we have the runners that suit us, and I mean we've gone through different iterations with it. I think we've settled on what we have. But you put on your runners, you put on your clothes. You know, you put out water in the relevant spots, and you go. You don't get punctures. You know, you don't lose a chain. You don't break what you call it, whatever derailleur. You know, you just go.
You're doing the bike often either, and you don't have to put out water.
You can carry your own water.
You carry it with you.
Yeah, but I'm just saying for
When
running,
you
like
listen,
it's there.
when are you running? Are you have these belts with the little bottles around?
Not with little bottles.
no.
Gels.
Mike carries a purse.
Because I saw the couple of people around. They have this belt and it's like a little bottles around it. Like,
Yeah, they're there. They're there, right? Yeah, no,
Like something from a Rambo movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that something that you better not show up among respectable runners with equipment like that?
No, we just plan our routes and we put water out.
But that's probably how we look on bikes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you know, with our hairy legs and
yes, very
t-shirts.
Yeah,
very
metallic t-shirts. You know.
very important part of the cycling culture. Shaving your legs.
Have you got a machete?
Yeah. So on the run, how you deal? You said you're planning around, so you're not carrying any water with you. You just
Not
plan.
long runs. No, generally we talk and discuss a plan, a route, and one of us would get water on the route then.
Yeah.
If it's in Tralee, now Vinny happens to work nights sometimes, and he drops
place
us bottles.
Place bottles.
So we know they're there, like so.
All right.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
you would know, and I suppose all of us run with water, don't we? We do.
What do you mean run with?
Run with a bottle.
Oh yeah.
I will.
Yeah. So you'll always have a bottle in your hand with water to sip.
Okay, so
You
you're actually taking
Parcel, but we
take a bottle in the hand like a man, and
Yeah.
not with like a belt with a little tiny.
No,
bottle.
in fairness, I do what you call it. I do carry my gels in the pouch. The lads carry them in the other hand in the bag. You know.
Right.
I don't think it's not anything. It's just we just find them uncomfortable. I
That'd
do
be for
anyway.
long runs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
anything under 10 miles.
You wouldn't do
Just have
anything.
a
Yeah.
bottle of water in the car for when you're finished.
Right. So that leads me to the question about the height, because like on a cycle, and perhaps it's because of a distance and time, but on the cycle, the most important part of these, many say the most important part is hydration. You just hydration, and you have a first drink after 15 minutes, and then the next drink after whatever, and you make sure you stay hydrated and all that. Is that not the case in running?
Oh yeah.
You just go and you run, and you have a bottle of water in the car, and like.
For something like 10 miles, like Vinny says there, you'll get through it without needing it. Well, okay, so we will, I suppose, at this stage. You know, we can go off and do a hard 10-mile session, and then that's fine, you know, you replenish afterwards. I'm sure if we really planned it, you know, it would probably benefit us if we had a bit of water up there, but at the same time, you're going to be going so fast.
If you were going further than 10 miles, you would take water before you reach 10 mile mark. You take it at 3, 6 and 9.
Right.
But when you're only going, that even the water you're taking early is to benefit you later.
Yes.
So there's no real advantage to taking it before 10.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're only going to 10.
It's like rule of thumb in running, as they say in the marathon. If you're thirsty, it's too late to take
Oh
water.
yeah, that's the same.
And if you're
It's
hungry,
the same inside.
yeah, it's too late to take a gel.
It's the same inside, exactly. Same saying.
Yeah, so
Okay.
But I'm sure nutrition and hydration is something that we will seriously have to look at.
yes,
We have a bit of time. That's why we picked next year to do the Ironman, and we have a little bit more time to.
Oh yeah.
Like, hopefully Vinny will have all this research now and just tell us if Mike wants
Yeah,
to do it.
we share all the.
This didn't work.
yeah.
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 We normally
Vinny,
take
why are
Vinny's
you 4
advice.
stone heavier?
Yeah.
Every 15 minutes isn't a good time to be.
Eating Mars bar.
And so, and your thing is a one and done. You're not planning to transition over to trial.
Well, I'm not, but I'm sure the boys might. I don't know.
Why are you so sure? Maybe after
I have goal. I just love running. I just have goals that I kind of want to hit, and to be honest, judging even by the way we're training now, Ironman training is full time. Like, and it would affect your other goal training for running. Like, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't see you fitting in Sparta now, for example.
Yeah.
Just example now, competing in Sparta and completing it.
Yeah.
While training for an Ironman, because you seriously need a lot of miles in the legs for running, which doesn't involve come into it.
I could see myself. I haven't done one, but I could see myself keeping it up.
Right.
But I enjoy the bike, so it's different.
Yeah. It's a huge advantage. It's a huge advantage. You know,
I'm enjoying the swimming now as well. Yeah, I must say I am enjoying the swimming. It's
I'm enjoying the pool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say on the swimming that you said like, oh, I'm swimming in the pool. I actually again heard I was swimming in the pool and in the open water, but less. I'm not a swimmer, right? I was swimming a few times, but it's actually easier, and a lot of people say it's easier to swim in an open water in your wetsuit because it kind of gives you buoyancy.
I'm depending on that in a big way.
I can give you one more tip that I heard from me was that when you're swimming, be behind the guy who kicks a lot, because then there's a lot of bubbles of water and it's easier to swim. So pick the guy who kicks a lot and just go after him. So
right.
it's
We'll do that. So
I hope he's looking up to see where he's going.
Yeah.
Yes. It was our friend Mike Dave who was
That's right.
he was doing Ironman in Barcelona as well, and he actually in the swim just exactly he just went somewhere else, and so actually his swim was much longer than what it should be because it was.
That's all. They're all things that we can't practice until the water heats up.
The scour goes,
and we get out to Glyn or.
and you're talking about stuff that the three of us have never done.
Yeah.
None of us have ever open swim water distance, and
Once I got into the water and feed it with wetsuit, and when I put my face into the water, I was turning my face and I wasn't breathing. I was gasping.
Yes.
I was because the water was so cold. I was panicking.
And your chest kind of contracts and it's like,
and then the other time I swam in warmer water, it was in Spain. I think it was in Spain. Spain, yeah. And I saw some fish underneath me.
Yeah.
And I suppose I was about 100 feet off the shore. And when I got back to the beach, my wife said, "What was that?" I was like Phelps coming back. And so the fish was probably more scared of me.
I don't think there's any dangerous fish or anything. Although you can get on a jellyfish and all this stuff.
June was stung in Barcelona last year.
In the face,
Is it a King of War or there's some name for this?
Yeah, Man of War.
Man of War,
Yeah.
So,
it's nasty.
Yeah, she
And they're now in Ireland as well.
Yeah.
They what?
They are in Ireland as well.
and the near field.
Yes, they're
I'm sticking to the pool.
The water is warming,
Yeah.
the warming of the climate, and so you gotta be.
Yeah.
So we'll know what happens if Vinny's sprinting back to the clean and pure.
And naturally enough, the worst thing about us being newbies to this is, I suppose like when we're marathon newbies too, we start reading a little bit, and I've been reading over the last while, and some of the things, and actually like my Google feed now is full of Ironman things, sponsored, what's called tracked kind of stories. Right. I was reading one, what was it, 2-3 nights ago, and they were going on about the 10 things that are going to happen to you while you're swimming, and that was one anyway. Just expect to get jellyfish bites. That's it. It's going to happen. The other one was the unwritten rule of urinate anywhere but don't tell anyone.
I heard that. Yeah.
And
Does that count for the pool?
No, no.
That's with one exception, pool.
As if we'd throw jellyfish into the pool for you. But the other one, and this never even crossed my mind, was apparently you lose all sense of taste while you're training in salt water because your mouth gets burnt.
Yeah.
So you can't taste anything.
I
think
I tweeted that 10 unexpected things that happens in like, and with one of these was like the salt water gets into your mouth and kind of burns your inside of your mouth, so you lose taste.
Yeah.
It's like whatever. Like
I'm beginning to change my mind here after this.
No, but at least now in the transition after the swim, you can have some horrible foods that you don't like.
Yeah, exactly.
But that are naturally good for you.
Yeah.
yeah. Just look at the upsides.
Exactly, positive.
Positive.
Yeah.
Guys, that's been great. Obviously, I have no doubt that you're gonna finish that with a great result. Any concluding thoughts?
About the Ironman or everything?
Oh, in general, as a wrap up to this podcast.
Look, just anyone out there, keep running and enjoy it. Do what we do. What we do is we just love to run and have fun while we're doing it. So keep on going and set your targets low to start with, and you'll get the big ones then eventually. That's kind of what I think anyway.
Yeah, roll in definitely with the fun part. Enjoy it. Last thing you want to do is
enjoy the Kerry Crusaders. They're a great running club.
Right. Okay. Do you want to plug in Kerry Crusaders? How to find?
Well, as I said, we're a charity. We run for special needs children. We're based in the Stall. We run 3 times a week: 8 o'clock on Monday night, 8 o'clock on Wednesday night, and 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. We're at the moment we're free of charge, and basically just come, and we have all levels of walkers, runners, joggers, crawlers, whatever you want. We're there.
Go and do it.
Yeah, as I said, our main goal is just to help children special needs along the way.
That's fantastic. All right.
That's it.
Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you
Tommy.
very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon.
And that was another episode of Tommy's Outdoors podcast. Please subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, PodBean. Rate us, leave the review, and also give us follow on Twitter and Instagram. And check back soon. Thanks for listening.